Hello everybody, it's the Stinkmaster here, and today I decided to share with you guys my top 10 favorite games of all time. Putting these games in a 1 to 10 list was really difficult, especially when most of the games are varying genres. And remember, I haven't played every game out there, so I may be ignorant to any masterpieces. But without further ado, here are my top 10 most favorite games of all time. Ape Escape is really bizarre. I mean, the game is about roaming around, knocking out monkeys, and catching them with a net. Aside from a few boss battles, that's it. And honestly, though the game has over 400 monkeys to catch, the satisfaction of catching them never gets old. The soundtrack is amazing, each level having their own catchy theme that will stay in your subconscious even years after playing. I really enjoyed the morphing feature of Ape Escape 3. This gave the exact amount of extra spice needed in between your monkey catching antics. And the game has a ninja with nipple stars, and even a Metal Gear Solid minigame. That's why this gets my number 10 spot. That's right, it's BioShock. This game is creepy, enticing, mysterious, and such a joy to play. Fighting big daddies or the splicers of the deep with a story that will blow your mind the first time around. Being able to shoot electric and even bees from your fingers is a surprisingly unique concept that this game was brave enough to experiment with. Being able to hack robots in the game, and the game also having multiple endings was just icing on the cake. That's why this game gets my number 9 spot. Castle Crashers. This game is a perfect blend of beat-em-up action and comedy. Sometimes we just need a simple game where you can turn your brain off and beat up some of the guys with a couple of your friends. And Castle Crashers is perfect for this. The developers working for Behemoth really put a lot of care and depth into this game, with 31 playable characters, 29 pets, and 79 weapons to collect. I've beaten this game probably about 7 or 8 times now, and have collected all of the pets and most of the weapons. Castle Crashers is a very rewarding and replayable game, making it my number 8 spot. Even though some of you prefer its predecessor, Skyrim is an amazing open world game where you have so much freedom to do what you want as the legendary Dragonborn, accompanied by a masterpiece of a soundtrack, with a vast array of unique abilities regarding magic and even shouting at people. Become a thief, assassin, vampire, you name it. Personally, I like to forge my own adventure in these type of games. I recall having made about 4 different characters in total, each one getting sidetracked from the main quest, preventing me from completing my 7th favorite game's main story to this day. But this is just the beauty of Skyrim. You're not shackled by the chains of forced quests and having true freedom. That is why it receives my number 7 spot on the list. This is the reason I got a GameCube. I didn't have very many games for the GameCube, and this game is why. You don't need any other games. Spending countless hours brawling with your favorite Nintendo characters, with your family or your friends, trying to figure out how to unlock characters that seem like legends, such as Pichu, Mr. Game & Watch, and of course Mewtwo. Rumors going around the school playground about how to unlock Sonic or Tails, with kids practically becoming detectives to solve these cases. Nintendo pulled off a crossover fighting game that companies still haven't been able to do to this day. A game where its competitive community is still alive, despite 2 respective sequels. This game is truly timeless, and that's why it gets my number 6 spot. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mario. coming to my number 5 spot with the masterpiece that is Super Mario World. What else could I say? It's Mario, but superfied, with life-lasting SNES art style and a variety of catchy tunes that were implanted into your child's mind. Featuring new power-ups such as the cape, the creator of the game, Miyamoto, stated that the game was rushed to complete by the deadline and wasn't even their complete idea of Mario World. But instead of wondering how could they have possibly improved on this perfection of a game, we just need to sit back, relax, and stomp on some hurdles.
Hey guys, I just wanted to remind you to like and subscribe because this video took a lot of hard work to make.
Mass Effect 2 is my first step into the Mass Effect universe, and man was it a lot to take in. Beautiful flowing combat, beautiful planets, beautiful music, even a beautiful game over screen. Mass Effect is just the pinnacle of beauty and realism. But even after all this praise, there is one point of Mass Effect that tops it all. The characters. The characters who were so uniquely designed with their own morals, feelings, roles, combat abilities, and reactions to the choices you make in the game, making you eventually care about them more than some real people in our world. And that makes it all the much more devastating when you take in the reality that these characters can die or live based on your in-game decision, basically leaving their lives in your hand. Oh, and you will feel every single death in your heart and blame yourself, because there is no one else to blame. On top of your decisions affecting your friends, it also changes the world around you, with each choice being remembered, and being able to transfer your choices and characters through the whole trilogy, making the game have that feeling of realism and endless depth to it. Because of that endless choice and all the things that I have listed, the beautiful game Mass Effect 2 takes my number 4 spot. I was a little afraid to put this one on the list, but it places so far up that I could just not leave it out. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 is not a perfect game by any means, with some cheap characters and glitches that I wish weren't in there. But dear lord is it fun. In my opinion, a perfect fighting game that keeps you on your toes at all time, trying to keep track of not only your health items, chakra, and other things, but your enemies too, with every character having a unique moveset and special ability. The story mode is fantastic, keeping all the parts of the show, but recreating it in its own 3D style, being satisfying from beginning to end. But the multiplayer is where this game truly shines. I started it right after story mode and thought I could compete, but I was wrong. The community will beat you down hard enough to give you a goal to work towards, but not brutal enough to make you quit the game instantly, making a boundless sense of progression, with me having about 1,000 matches played and still not reaching the top. But I can still show you that I can destroy somebody who's only played 20 matches. Revolution and Storm 4 were fantastic, but for nostalgia's sake, I had to put this on my number 3 spot on my list. I used to not be a fan of strategic turn-based games, but Fire Emblem gave me a change of heart, being a tactical RPG of wonder. I started late in the series with Awakening, but it captivated me. I ended up completing the game on normal, then on hard, getting halfway through lunatic mode with 150 hours already put into the game. But then it happened.
This way.
Big brother! He's my brother!
We're your family.
Fire Emblem Fates was released. A Fire Emblem game for everybody, with hardcore players going to Conquest, and newer ones going to Birthright. But Conquest and Birthright aren't just parts of the game. Which side you join is a whole game on its own, making 3 games with one release for $80. Fates did everything that Awakening did, and supersized it, changing the weapon triangle, enemy pair-ups, town construction, and in my opinion, a much cleaner HUD and battle animation. along with the new staple marriage system allowing you to marry any two characters on your team with support conversations. And they eventually have kids with unique stats based on the parents. I recommend turning on permanent death. Having to lose a member of your family right when they show up, or having a favorite unit get slaughtered, adds an immense amount of death and heartbreak to the game about war. Yes, this game is a little controversial at release, and the story is silly at points, but it still gets my second favorite game of all time. Here it is, my number one spot. I found a pattern in my favorite games. They usually incorporate one of these 5 pieces: atmosphere, permanent death, fun, uniqueness, and an amazing soundtrack. A game that has all of these elements is That's right, it's Oddworld, Abe's Exodus. A game well known by many, but foreign to a lot as well. It's a game where you play as Abe, a little bluish green guy who is of the Mudokon race. A race who is enslaved by the Glukkons. Some even forced to have their eyes stitched shut. It's your job to save your race and stop the Glukkons' plans by freeing your buddies. How do you do that, you ask? Guns? No. Swords? No. Shooting fire from your fingers? No. Oddworld is a game where you're not in control, and in most cases, your only choice is to run. Not only do you have to look after yourself in this nasty environment, you have to make sure your buddies stay alive too. But you can fight back a little. Abe has the power of mind control. Taking over your all-powerful enemies and using their powers against them gives immense satisfaction. But you can't use this power all the time. The soundtrack is amazing, even turning factory noises into a memorable tune. This game is one of a kind in the sense that there isn't anything I can think like it. Much like Ape Escape, when I try to make a game comparison to this one, my mind is left blank. And death does matter for your Mudokon relatives, since saving them gives you a good ending. I picked the sequel over Odyssey because it's the same game, but Exodus simply has more. It's a sequel done to perfection. And for me, a game done to perfection. That's why it takes my number one spot of my favorite games of all time. Please remember that I haven't played every game known to man, so take this list with a pinch of salt. I prefer a countdown list over the regular 10, in no particular order. But don't think that something like Fire Emblem is leaps and bounds better than Castle Crashers. It's nearly impossible to put one over the other since most of the games are varying genres. So the order has some nostalgia and personal bias on which goes where. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and comment down below if you want more lists like this one.